Hi everyone, my name is Diego Rodriguez. I'm thrilled to be here for many reasons. The first one is because I was invited to the July event, but it wasn't ready or it wasn't possible to make it at that time, so we moved it to September and here we am. So this is one example that, as we were talking before, when Melinda was organizing everything from the place original to this one, that some people used to say no at the beginning, and I normally say that no means new opportunity. So let's face every problem as a potential opportunity that we can face into our lives. For example, being here, you guys, me as well. And in this case today, I'm going to explain you about how artificial intelligence will not take our jobs. I mean, this is something that, let's say, 2 years ago, more or less, when I'm talking to everyday people on different sectors and ways of life, pretty much everyone is a bit worried about this thing, big thing coming from Palo Alto, China, whatever country comes, called AI, and how it's going to impact our lives. So far, it is a lot of information to process. It's going really, really fast, faster than we can ever manage or digest, even every one of us. And especially, it's something that me, as a job expert, is something that I'm facing on the day-to-day basis with my clients, especially the topic of how will or will not this new intelligence will take our jobs. I'd like to present myself before I get going. My name is Diego Rodriguez. As you know, I'm a professional career coach. I'm an expert on career development and transition and job recruitment. I just launched my very own book. Again, another process that took me 3 years, and now it's finally there. And I am a big fan, and that's the reason why I'm here, of AI. Everything that has to deal with technology and these new things that we're now living is absolutely exciting. I'm thrilled to be part of it, even though I'm not from the tech world, I'm from the people world. But I work with ChatGPT on a daily basis. In fact, I was talking to my colleagues over here, that I don't know if you guys, I am one of the ones that's having ChatGPT 4.0, I'm exceeding the limit on a day-to-day basis. I mean, I make so many questions and I work so much with ChatGPT that I'm just, I'm ruining the machine. Because, one of my main mottos ever since I discovered ChatGPT and AI is to work less and produce more. And I truly believe that if we use these tools correctly, we can achieve this, as our great-grandfathers achieved it when they were on the fields, and then they changed it to the factories, and so on and so forth. One of the questions that I want to ask you, please raise your hand or not, is who is afraid of what's coming? Even I'm afraid, so. Especially one of my customers, and he was applying for a job as a CTO, Chief Technological Officer, for a worldwide company. He came to me saying, Diego, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to keep my job because I'm a chief engineer, I'm a chief technology officer. I see how the information technology is progressing, and maybe, for example, talking about coding, he was a code expert, maybe this coding will be done by a machine without the human interaction, and who knows what's going to be next. So maybe his well-paid job will be redundant in a few years' time. And he showed me this picture made by the MIT Technology Review. So it's not something that I just got on the internet randomly. And as you can see, this is more or less the evolution of the beginning, let's say 2 years ago, of how the AI will look like in our society. To say our great-grandfather was this guy who was using the tools, manual tools, to make things and make things work. Then his son, or my father, for example, was using the electric power tools. Then we could be us in these two categories. Let's say we are learning to work on the machines. The machine does something for us and makes our work a bit, let's say, easier or more productive or faster or however you want it. But then the forecast, as many people are seeing right now, is quite dramatic to see, oh, the technology is going to take over ourselves, our jobs, our life is going to dramatically be progressing until we make it redundant as humans. So my message of hope for you today is that no matter what the advance of the technology will come, we are now being paid and will be paid by the value of our knowledge. We don't just produce something in a factory and then send it. Many of us do a different job, let's say a more intellectual job. For that intellectual job, they pay us for what we know. And what can we do with everything we know? Which is, in simple terms, which button do we need to press? And then there is a big difference in between just pressing a button randomly, anyone can do it, even ChatGPT, or getting better paid to press the right button, which is a big difference. And that, if you think about, is our basics of work. I mean, people just don't pay us just to sit down and type something on the computer. They pay us to develop an idea and obviously make money, because that's what we're here for, but aiming to get this 1 million idea or 1 million production of everything we do. So one of my main messages for you today, if you are still doubting, which I believe you're maybe not, is to take your risk. I mean, this is a big monster. It's impossible to catch up because there's tons of information literally daily being fed up to us by YouTube, by LinkedIn posts, by whatever. I mean, there's always this new technology which is coming up, and new tools, and new Sunos to make songs and whatever. But what we need to do is to just lose the fear, start to play around a little bit with the machine, with this new technology, and obviously apply this knowledge. There's no sense on just learning without applying what we learn. Maybe we don't need to learn so much. Maybe we just need to learn a little and then put it in practice and see if it works for us. So today I'm going to explain you about these 5 points. First one being evolution of technology and human labor. Where do we come from? Machines and people. Basically, from farm to factory. I mean, we were just farming, and then somebody invented this factory, massive factory, and then we were able to produce more whatever, more everything we needed. And then this was in the 18th century, and then the First and the Second World War came. We needed more production somehow. We couldn't just employ people because they were fighting somewhere. So we had to develop the machines to do everything, from cars to planes to bombs to also food. Third, it came on the 20th century, more recent to us, with the robots, that when the robots and the energy were able to merge, the global economy was possible. Not only sending things to China, for example, but also connecting ourselves to make it possible and faster. And now we are in the 4th generation of this evolution, which is the artificial intelligence evolution, that I call the new economy, because maybe some of the jobs that you guys have today wasn't invented 10 years ago. For example, when I explain what I do to my grandmother, she's like, "You are an artist?" So, yeah. Anyway, this is what we have now, and it will come onwards. Right now, we still have a choice and a hope, because the machines are more or less even with us. I mean, the machines need to learn from us, and we need the machines to do things that, if we use them, our work will be better done. So right now, we are more or less even. Because, for example, I don't know if you guys just enter into any website and there's this CAPTCHA saying, "Are you a robot, yes or not?" Or please press onto the, I don't know, the bicycle on the pictures, for example, right? That means that these machines are not entirely automatic, and they still need our, let's say, manual input or human input to make it work. We are, as humans, sophisticated at work. We can make a really sophisticated work. That's the reason why we're here. And that's the reason why even ChatGPT was developed. I mean, it was developed by humans, not just robots. We also have an advantage, is that we can do a repetitive jobs. Just like our fathers or grandfathers were doing in the factory, we can also do it now in the office. I mean, how many of you think that 90% of your job could be done by a machine, because now it's redundant? You just copy and paste and send and receive, pretty much the same along your life. But this little chunk of, let's say, quality work that requires your thinking. We're able to handle data, and the machines also. And there is a frightening part, because they are also blind obedient. You can just tell ChatGPT what to do. It will work for 24 hours, and then when you wake up next morning, it will be done, more or less on the way that you want it. They're also relentless. They don't stop. It's a machine. I mean, as long as you feed the machine correctly, the machine will go. And they don't get paid, which is not great, and they learn faster. I mean, whether we like it or not, we need to understand things and put them in practice to learn, but the machines with a better chip, better technology, better, I don't know, a speed on the internet or better electric connection, they will just fly miles. So what do we do with this? We now think, or many people think, that the technology is little by little replacing us. I think that it should be a tool to enhance our capabilities. And I, let's say, forecast the future with the machines and with all the technology that is around us, it will help us to have our highest performance and greatest results. Just like we experienced with the first laptop that we ever came into our lives, Windows, for example, the mobile phone, whatever technology we have. Let's focus today on the center. This is a great example that I like to use on my mentorships and classes, that this is us, and this is the power of a machine, the power of a computer, ChatGPT, whatever you have. I mean, nobody knows what you really have, but you need to know how to use this massive boulder to just carry things around, in this case, data, information, work, and so on. But not only for our office jobs or day-to-day jobs, as you know, it is expanding into medical industries, financial industries, education, and psychology. I mean, it is funny that now there are a few tools on AI that can predict, according to your searches on the internet, whether or not if you are depressed, whether or not if you're facing, let's say, a problematic situation with your work, for example, and it can predict the time where you will be needing a psychological treatment, a proper one. So that is fascinating. But as it happens now with the e-commerce, that they predict what you could buy in, let's say, based on your searches, this is also expanding to every single area of our lives, which is good and bad at the same time. Let's see how we see it. For example, in my area, which is human resources, just a normal process, it can be reduced by 30%. Just by applying the right tools at the right time. Same people, same job, faster, and obviously producing more money and more. So this technology helps us to make brighter and better decisions. As my colleague was explaining, all the information is, let's say, eaten by these machines, all this data, then is processed, and then it brings us this output that we need. Right now, it is recommending us actions. I mean, if we learn to prompt correctly, we can get something great out of these machines. And especially to make better decisions, to change where we are now. I mean, now 80% of the work is made by humans, and 20% of the work is made by or with the help of AI tools. To this, we need to aim to these people. 20% human and 80% AI. Which makes sense, because if you think about now, the life is crazy. I mean, the commerce is skyrocketing. Every one of us, even companies, they expect us to produce more in less time. And the only physical and let's say real way to do it is by using tools, like our ancestors with power tools, now us with technology. So let's embrace the change. The first thing that we all need to do, let's say until we die, is to keep learning and adapting, because that is the basics of every successful life, not only at work, but also personal. And this is pretty easy right now and cheap. As a matter of fact, many of these tools are completely open source, free to use. You only need a laptop or a mobile phone. So we are being given this opportunity to learn and get the most benefit out of this. It's easy to stay updated with AI advances. I mean, there are a million posts and YouTube channels and so on. Also, I recommend you to incorporate micro-learning. I mean, it is impossible, again, to learn everything at once, but you could always take 5 minutes to just investigate something that is out of your curiosity, or, for example, come to this event, which is great also for this micro-learning. Be flexible and open-minded. Even if you don't understand something, just give it a try. Why not? It might give you a good opportunity. Sorry. And leverage everything you learn to your advantage. Remember the 20-80 rule. This is basic. Our future life with AI will be such as optimal efficiency. We're going to be doing less handwork, less manual work, we're going to sweat less, because we can have a better focus and better ideas with the information that we're provided. I mean, thanks to these AI tools, we are on the palm of our hands, provided with tons of information, mostly useful. Second, there's going to be a change on labor-based production model. What you saw before on the other slide with the production and the different phases of the Industrial Revolution, that is completely over now. I mean, now in a big factory, for example, making cars, there is purely robots. I mean, obviously there's humans supervising everything and fixing everything, but 90% of everything is machine-made. So we're going to be paid for quantity, not quality. Sorry, we're going to change quantity for quality. So we're not going to need to sit down in an office for 12 hours a day, but our bosses will expect us to just provide something of great value for the company and ourselves. And we're going to be paid in a further future, as if we were, for example, solopreneurs, for our results, not just for just sitting down in the office or belonging to a big company. We're going to create a new time. There's going to be a different use of our time. Since we will be not working so much or working in a different way, we will have some time and we will have a different kind of life. I mean, our life now is different than 10 years ago, and it's surely different than 50 years ago when our fathers started to work. And we're going to be basically making this consuming, working, and resting, which is pretty much what we do now, if you think about it. I mean, we consume social media 5 hours a day on average. We consume everything that it's in our hand. We are like thrilled to see what's new to buy, for example, the new iPhone 16, which is coming out now. We also need to work, obviously, to just pay for everything. But at the same time, we value more than ever the rest, especially the mental rest, which is something that we are lacking. Also, we're going to improve our decision making. Every single decision is going to be data driven based on the insights, which we used to do before as well with encyclopedias or asking this wise guy on the corner, for example. But now we can have all this information at the palm of our hands with ChatGPT, for example. And the more information we have, the more accurate choices we can make, obviously. Also, we're going to enhance our human potential. Now there's things about Neuralink. I don't know if you're aware of that, but right now, myself, I am an enhanced human potential thanks to my ChatGPT use. So I can do more things, more, let's say, accurate, intelligent, precise, and produce more thanks to the information and technology that I use on a daily basis. Our work is going to change as well. Jobs are changing. And I'm going to show you a few examples how. But they are changing always, which is a good thing, keeping the human in the loop. If you look at these Palo Alto companies, it doesn't matter how tech they are, for example, Google, there's still people around, there's still people working, and they're getting paid really well, again, to think and to do something with their hands. So assuming this, the complete work environment that we knew and we know today is going to change. For example, the manufacturing and assembly line workers are going to change to human-machine interaction designers. I mean, there's going to be robots and there's going to be people, but people are not going to be changing bolts and moving boxes. They're going to be designing interaction or doing something, let's say, practical with their brain to apply into a machine. Same with the transport and delivery drivers. Right now it's more common that a drone will move one package to another, or Amazon will get our pedido. Exactly. Within seconds, and then it will put it directly with a robot in a truck, and the truck will come to my house in 2 hours, which is fascinating. So these kind of jobs will be changed into AI operators, drone pilots, maintenance specialists, and so on. Teachers and tutors. I'm also a teacher myself, and that's also going to change. 2, learning experience managers. I mean, teaching not far from now is going to be made by, let's say, an avatar of me explaining things in a better way that I do. But I will still need to feed that machine, to feed that speech to my students, for example. Also, HR recruiters, they're going to change into candidate experience coordinators. analysts to data scientists and analysts, lawyers to AI ethics and compliance officer, and AI policy and governance experts, and finally, computer engineers to, for example, cybersecurity analysts, AI maintenance and support specialists, and so on and so forth. So many of the jobs that we know now, maybe in the future will not be the same, or they will change in a way that we need to be prepared of. So most likely, your next job hasn't been invented yet, but it will in some way be related to AI. So that is the high importance of you being here today, the big importance of learning this message and my colleagues, of especially opening your mind, being open to every single opportunity, and then embrace what you can't, but always taking a step further every single day. Your keys to success will be learn to give better orders. This is prompt engineering, basic, let's say, line-based. If you do a better prompting, you get better results. But the same in life. If you ask somebody better, you will get something better. For example, they will understand what you really want precisely. You also need to improve your skills, hard and soft, professional and personal. But especially, this is something that nobody talks about and is super important, which is emotional intelligence. In other words, how do we communicate and connect with other people? And that, let's assume that the technical part will be done by machines. Okay, we need to learn how to work with them and feed them and receive something. But we need to sell something to somebody. That is the big importance of emotional intelligence. And the better you learn to connect, the better, the happier you are, the better your life works, and so on. Also, and this is a very important point that I talked to you before, expand your community. Networking is life. As we go more tech, we need to get back as humans to connect more as humans. And that is really our biggest success and also the root of happiness in many of our lives. And we need to develop the adaptation. And here I like to remind you to Darwin, that said, it is not the most intellectual of the species that survives, it is not the strongest that survives, but the species that is able best to adapt and adjust to the changing environment in which it finds itself. Meaning that we need to adapt. We have no other choice. So my final message to you is do not hate the enemy. The technological wall might seem a bit fearful, but what we need to do is really change our game. Thank you very much.